And do you think there's like African people who will pretend to be American or Canadian or English in order to fit or get a better treatment?
Me, before coming to China, I really admire Chinese girls. I was like, wow.
So today we are with my good friend Dax. Well, we just actually met. So Dax, would you introduce yourself?
Yo, hello, lovely people. So I'm Dax from Ghana. I'm currently in China, Suzhou, and I'm so happy to be interviewed today. It's been an amazing invite, and I was so happy.
Hey, you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, sure.
What's it?
It's Daks Palm, and basically about life in China. I'm just learning from him, you know.
Check it out. The YouTube channel is gonna be down there in the link description about life in China, and it's a very interesting story which we're about to share with you. So, my good friend Dax, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Ghana.
From Ghana?
Yeah.
How did you end up in China?
China, since childhood, we're watching Chinese movies, Kung Fu, daks, and all those. So we're all amazed. We were all curious about China. Using chopsticks, Kung Fu, Chinese movies. So since childhood, it was just in mind, China.
So you want to come from where you were a child?
I just love China, but I never thought of coming to China one day. So it was in high school. Then my uncle told me that, there's scholarship packages in China. I said, oh wow, that's amazing. It's more cool than going to the US. You know, in US you have to write several exams, very tough, you know. But China is so flexible. I was like, wow, let me come to China. I'll learn something unique. I'll learn something different, you know. Going to US, it will still be English, nothing new. But in China, now I can speak Chinese language, different cultures, some different stuffs all together. And yeah.
And that was like what got you into China. It was different. It was an exciting opportunity, at least that you had never been before, unlike anything that you had seen in the movies, right?
Yeah.
And then how did you get in touch with China? Like, how did you make this dream become a reality? Did you apply for scholarships? Did you find a job?
Yeah, luckily my uncle was already here as a student, so he knew everything about China. So the only thing I had to do is send the documents. He would tell me this, I'll just send to him. He did all the applications. Then he was like, go for your visa interview, China, boom.
Yeah.
27th November 2018. I'll never forget that day coming to China.
And why did your uncle decide to come to China?
I think because of the opportunities in China.
So it is well known? Like, is it something that people know about in Ghana?
Yeah, very much. There are a lot of Ghanaians who are very aware of like China, like mostly the students, you know. Yeah. So I'm a master's student.
You're a master.
I did my bachelor, then now offering my master's.
Did you do your bachelor's in China as well?
In China.
What city?
Zhengzhou City.
Oh wow, so you have a long story with China.
Man, I have a long story to inspire others.
How many years?
So I'll be 5 years this year.
5 years.
Yeah.
That is a long time, man.
Man, China.
And how has it been for you? Like, it's being from such a different country. Like, what do Chinese people think when you tell them that you're from Ghana? What are like some of the preconceptions they have?
Yeah, first of all, when I came to China, I was always surprised. You would tell somebody Ghana, they'll be like, Ghana? What is Ghana? They don't know my country. I'll be like, wow. I've been in my country, I'm always happy, I'm in Ghana, I'm a Ghanaian, but people don't even know about my country. So actually, I was so happy that I was the first to introduce my country to most Chinese. You know, in Chinese, my country is called Jiana, and Canada is Jianada.
Yeah.
So when you say Jiana, they will say Jianada because they know Canada but not Ghana, you know. So it's been cool. I feel so happy, and I feel like I've been an ambassador for my country, introducing my country in several ways to the Chinese.
Right?
Yeah.
To be honest, it's also, I think it has to be the first time in China that I met people from Ghana. You're actually the second.
Wow.
So I knew Ghana, of course, because of the football.
Yeah, football.
That World Cup was amazing. But before, no. So I think like there's not so much understanding about Africa in the first place and Ghana.
Yes.
So have you met anyone who knows anything about Ghana?
Like in my previous city, like they barely knew about Ghana. But coming to Suzhou is totally different. When you just talk about Ghana, oh, Ghana, football, movies, like they talk about Ghanaian movies and I'm even surprised. Like how possible, like
movies.
Yeah, like I was so surprised and amazed. I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I feel like coming to Suzhou has taught me so much because China is totally different based on the cities.
Yeah.
You might be in Suzhou and you think this is how China is. You go to another city, it's different.
It's so big.
It's so big,
Yeah.
different cultures, different mindset of the Chinese people. Everything is totally different.
So,
Yeah.
hey, and what is the language in Ghana?
The language in Ghana, our official language is English, but we have a local official language as well, which is Chin.
Oh, you told me last time.
Yeah. It's spelled Twi.
TWI, and you say
Chin.
all right.
Yeah.
And like, how do you say hello in Chin?
At the same.
At the same?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And that's your mother language.
Yes.
All right. So how was it for you, like being a non-native English speaker,
Yeah.
to come to China? Did you speak Chinese before coming here?
No, before coming to China, I only knew Ni Hao and Tingudong.
And Tingudang, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's the only Chinese I knew. On my first day, it was so like, wow, I couldn't speak anything. I couldn't understand anything. I was surprised at the airport. Most of them couldn't speak English.
Yeah, it's rare. It's not so common in Japan. So how was it for you to adapt to the culture? Because you get to this place. Had you been abroad before?
Actually, this is my first time to leave Ghana and it's China. Yeah, apart from
And then you get to China, and what were your first impressions? How did you feel?
I was like, wow, this place is so beautiful and so wonderful. And I feel like so people can live differently and still comfortable. Like everything was totally different. The way of life, speaking, everything was totally different. So,
And what did you expect before coming? Like, did it meet your expectations, or was it very different to what you
in
thought?
some ways, yeah, it met my expectations. In some ways, to not. Coming to China as a student, you can work. As a student, you can make more money. That expectation. But coming here, it was totally different. As a student, it's not legal to work. Yeah. And all those stuff. But apart from that, I have really enjoyed China, and I feel like I've met most of the expectations.
Yeah.
I didn't imagine China being so developed, so different. Before coming to China, in the movies, you see them with these long beards and all those dressing. But I came here, like you barely see Chinese in that form of dressing, that way of life. I thought every Chinese can do Kung Fu. I came Tai Chi. Most of them, they don't even know anything about Kung Fu.
So would you say that is like the perception that Ghana, like a lot of people have in Ghana about China?
Yeah. I think it's everyone. Like everyone, they mostly think China is still that Asian style, But it's totally different, different. But the good thing is now we have social media and other YouTubers who are trying to educate people about China. So people are getting
They get to see the real life.
real life in China.
And what would you say that Chinese people think when you tell them you come from Africa? Because maybe they don't know Ghana, but I guess they have heard of Africa.
Yeah.
So what would you say is their like what image do they have of Africa?
Yeah, actually, mostly they ask of my country. Then I mention my country. Then I'm always expecting them to talk more about my country. Then they just say Africa. They take Africa as a country.
Right.
Africa as a country, which I feel like it ought not to be so. Like I was expecting them to know several countries and all those, but they take Africa as one, as a country, not a continent. And that is something that I feel very bad in some way. Yeah, I feel like I wish Chinese could know much about the countries in Africa and not Africa as a country.
Yeah, because what is it that they say about Africa?
Africa, Chinese about Africa.
Like Mexico, we had one video in which we asked, what is the first thing that comes up to your mind if I say Mexico? And we got like funny answers like burritos and tequila, but we also got some other ones that like really helped us see the way that people see our country outside, which is drugs, guns, and violence. You know, so that's also there, like some kind of ignorance to see what people think. So what are like the good things that they know of Africa and like the bad things?
Yeah, I'd like to start with the bad things. Yeah, mostly when you talk about Africa, it's like they look down upon Africans. I don't know why it's so, but immediately you just say America and you say Africa, you can feel the difference, like the impression, everything. I just don't know why it's like that. But once you say America is like so happy. Yeah. But when you say Africa, like you see that the spirit is low, like they are not interested in all those stuff. That is one side that like I feel like Chinese, they have to really know much about Africa. Apart from that, yeah, they love music, African dance, like Chinese. When we say Africa, they'll say, can you dance? Yeah, mostly dancing, music, and gold.
And gold?
Yeah.
Gold?
Not golds.
Oh, gold.
Diamond.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of mines Chinese mines in Africa.
A lot. So,
is there in Ghana?
A lot in Ghana.
Ah, so there is a lot of Chinese people in Ghana.
A lot.
I didn't know that.
Wow. Yeah. And one thing is, in Ghana, before even coming to Ghana, I knew Chinese people to be that short people. I don't know why, but the Chinese who mostly come to Ghana, those short types. So in our language, we call them the short people.
Short.
Yeah. But so when I came to China, it's kind of different. So I try to find out why. Where I am, I see they are not that short like those we see in Ghana. Mm-hmm. So I realized that those who mostly come to Ghana are from Guangdong province. They are mostly that height.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that there were so many Chinese like businessmen in Ghana.
Chinese, yeah, all over.
And what about Ghanaians living in China? Is that very common?
A lot.
So you know a lot more Ghanaian people living here?
Very much. In my previous city were a lot. Yeah.
So it's like a popular destination to go and develop your career?
Mostly, yeah. For now, China is one of the countries Ghanaians really travel to, especially for students, like masters, most Ghanaians.
And do then people, after they graduate, do they stay and work in China?
Yeah, most of them stay in China. There's some they go back, then to develop investment.
Would you say it's easy to get a job as a Ghanaian professional here in China?
Not really easy. Chinese mostly look down upon Africans as compared to Americans. They employ people based on your skin color. Mostly sometimes job requirements, the requirements are not maybe your qualification or something, your skin color, your continent, you know. Yeah.
Yes.
So
then would you think like it's more important like the color of your skin or your passport? Like let's say there are Black Americans and there are Black Africans. Is there a difference?
They don't mostly even check your passport.
Okay.
Yeah, they just ask. So sometimes we Ghanaians who have stayed here, we know. Sometimes if you really need a job or something, you just say you're an American. Meanwhile, you're a Ghanaian, you say you're American. Oh wow, my God. And they believe. They don't really go through to confirm whether you are African or this thing. They okay, that's all. And that is something strange and different to me, because initially I thought if I say I'm from Canada, I'm a Canadian, maybe they'll find out, yeah, okay, oh, Canada. But when you say Ghana, it's different.
Yeah, they treat you different.
Yeah. So in order to survive or in order to enjoy here very well, sometimes you study the environment and they see what do they really want. Are there people who really want Americans or this thing? Then.
And do you think there's like African people who will pretend to be American or Canadian or English in order to fit or get a better treatment?
Mostly. I personally, I won't lie, there are several instances that I have done such things. I remember beginning when I came, I went to a hospital. Then I said I'm from Canada. Like the treatment was so different. Like I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Then later on, a friend of mine said the different country, the same person we went together. He said Ghana and me, Canada. The treatment for me was different. The doctor added my Richard. As at now, we still stay in touch. she still knows me as a Canadian.
No, what?
You won't believe this.
I wonder what would happen if you actually told her, you know, I was joking, I'm from Ghana. Do you think it would change? Like,
right now, I feel like I have psyched her mind that I'm a Canadian. So like, she will never even think. And that is it. So like strange to me. Like initially I was feeling guilty. Like I'm not a Canadian, but I said I'm a Canadian. But she's okay, very comfortable. So yeah. So later on I realized I met in my initial stage, I met another Chinese. So when he asked me when after that experience, he met me, which country are you from? I said I'm from Canada. And he said, I thought you are from Africa. Yeah, I've never had an African friend. I love to have an African friend and all those things. Then I was like, wow, there's somebody who wants to know about Africa. Yeah. It's like, wow. So we had a coffee. Then later on, I told him that I'm a Ghanaian. I'm actually a Ghanaian or something. That time I couldn't speak Chinese very well, so maybe he didn't even know that I said I'm a Canadian or something. So from that experience, that really changed my mindset. I felt like it's very bad to change who I am.
Right.
Yeah, I have to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to act as an ambassador, you know, to these people. So since that time, never did I change my nationality. Anytime I'm a Ghanaian, if you don't know about Ghana, I tell you more about Ghana.
Right.
Yeah, so that friend really changed my mindset of how to relate with Chinese.
What is it like to be black in China for you, from your experience?
From my experience, I feel it's still cool. It's so nice, even though I feel like Chinese, they are so ignorant about Africa. And even upon all that, when they see you for the first time, they will love to take a picture with you. So in some way, I don't feel that's racism, you know?
Yeah.
Even though like the person will say, oh, black person, I like to take a picture with you.
Yeah.
It's like, that's cool.
So it's more like out of curiosity, you could say. Yeah. And I think we in Mexico, we could have that too, because there's not so many black people. So we could also feel curiosity, you know, like maybe ask where you're from, like what's your country like, you know, it's very cool. And what about like meeting people, you know, like friends or even dating? What is it like? And do you think like your color or race has any impact on it?
Oh yeah, about dating, I personally have never had experience with Chinese girls, but with my friends, I feel Chinese girls really like Africans very much. And even most of the Chinese guys are mostly jealous of African guys, you know. Chinese girls love African guys, the muscles and all those things. They feel like African guys are strong and all those things. So for African guys, it's so easy.
Oh, nice.
So easy in terms of dating, all those types, yeah.
I would say that's also around the world, right? Like, yeah, like athletic, like this conception, right? And do you speak Chinese now? Because when you arrived, you didn't speak Chinese.
Yeah, now I can speak fluently, yeah.
And how would you say that your life has changed before you spoke Chinese and now that you do speak Chinese?
Yeah, I feel like if you want to really enjoy China, you have to learn Chinese language.
Right.
Learning Chinese language has really changed my life in China. Many opportunities. I've gotten so much opportunities in China because of the language I could speak.
Right.
Yeah, you get job opportunities everywhere because of the language. So if you want to really enjoy China, first, the language is one. Two, love Chinese culture.
Yeah.
Love the food, you know, just love the food.
And how did you learn Chinese?
I met that Chinese guy that he wanted to know about Africa. So after meeting him within a week, he invited me to his village, his hometown. I was like, his hometown? I was really scared because I've not known him for a long time. Just within 1 week, you want me to go to your hometown? He said it's a village. I was like, so I asked some people, my uncle. He said, cool, it's a nice experience, go. So once my uncle said go, I was like, okay, then I can go. But I was really worried. In Ghana, like before you can even travel with someone, you have to know the person very much before you can do that. But just 1 week, I said, okay. So I went to his village and I was so surprised, amazed, because I couldn't speak Chinese, but all the Chinese, they could communicate with me for about an hour just with a Google translator.
Yeah.
I can't speak the language, but they were still willing. We're using phones, communicating. I was like, wow. So this is how these people are. They are so amazing. Like, wow. So people started coming to me out. Actually, I feel like I was the first black to be in that village. A lot of people coming to visit, bringing fruits, food. That was Chinese New Year. I was like, wow. And so if I can speak the language, then meaning more opportunities will be coming to me.
Yeah.
So after coming back from the village, I was like, man, I have to do this. I have to learn the language by force. So I started. So from that initial stage, I started picking the language. Then I started working with Chinese, playing basketball with them, going out with them. Then automatically, the language was just flowing. Everybody was surprised. How come you can speak Chinese? I even became better than even my classmates who had been here, because you were always sleeping and I'm always with Chinese. So I think first of all, it's all about the mindset. Initially, I had the mindset, oh, it's not possible, it's difficult and all those stuff. But when I just had the mindset, oh, I can learn Chinese, it started flowing. So to learn Chinese, first of all, I think is about your mindset. Just have that positive
The
mindset.
motivation.
Yeah.
The willing to do it.
Exactly. Once you have that, you got to deal with it.
Because Chinese people are very encouraging. They'll always like push you, like congratulate you.
Very much. The funny thing is, if you say, when the Chinese ask you, what is your country? You just say, hey, your Chinese is so good.
Yeah. They get excited.
Just that sentence alone, that's all.
And did it help you like you get Chinese friends? Or maybe you say you never dated a Chinese girl?
No, but I had several job opportunities. Me, I was much into making money,
Right.
coming to China, yeah. So I had several job opportunities.
Like what kind of jobs have you done?
Some teaching, some I go to their homes to teach kids, some to online jobs. You know, I have to translate for some companies, some online shops and all those stuff.
Is the money good?
Sometimes it's normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Like what about like compared to your country? How's the money?
Sometimes I even take more than my sisters who are working in Ghana. So yeah,
So it's like I think it's a high paying job,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Here in China.
Yeah.
And for dating, because you've been here for a long time, do you have a girlfriend?
no, not Chinese, but I've had an African girlfriend and all those stuff.
So it's easier for you like to get along or to find a partner that's also from Africa? Or would you say it's the same?
It's the same. It's mostly easier. Me, before coming to China, I really admire Chinese girls. I was like, wow, if I come out, definitely date a Chinese girl. But I don't know what happened. When I came to China, like, I just lost interest. I just don't know the reason. But I never liked Chinese anymore. Is it because they are so full? Or maybe I just don't love their way of dating. I feel like dating a Chinese girl is like being in prison.
How is it dating here in China? How do you date? Do you use Tinder or just like meeting people in jobs, school? How does it work?
Oh, it's so easy personally, like meeting someone. You just meet a Chinese girl and she would just love to have your WeChat. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They was texting you so many messages, you know. I mean, I don't have time for that, you know. Because like they want to chat you all the time. No, you know, I don't want
You
that.
need your space.
Exactly. So I feel like that's really turned me off, like in terms of getting a Chinese girl. But I feel like it's just the perception I'm having. There might be Chinese girls who are also not like that. That's stressful. So maybe I should change that perception.
Maybe you need to try some more, huh?
Yeah, I have to, because so many people, I say, how can you come to China without trying?
And do you think like being black, how does it influence dating people in China? Is it in a good way or in a bad way or in no way?
Yeah, for blacks it's normal, but to the Chinese guys it's very bad. Like, or even on several WeChat channels and all those things, when they see a Chinese lady married to an African guy, you see a lot of comments.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What kind of comments?
Like, insulted a guy, go to your country, and all those are. So the Chinese guys, you know, the conditions for a Chinese guy to marry a Chinese lady is totally different
Right.
for an African guy.
Yeah.
You know, Chinese guys, they have to have a car and all those things. But we have it so easy. Sometimes even the Chinese ladies are even sponsoring and all those stuff.
Yeah.
So that really is, I feel like the Chinese guys feel like it's a burden. Yeah.
Like they're stealing their, right?
You know?
Like they have it so easy. Leave some for us.
How come we natives, we don't get, yeah.
All right. And lastly, I want to ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years?
In 5 to 10 years, I see myself back in Africa, in Ghana. I feel like I've really learned so much from China, and no matter where you go, there's no place like home. Even though life is so good in China, everything is cool, but to me, I don't see myself settling in China, no. I feel like there should be a time that I have to go back home. I have to impact. I have to start something new, impact in my country also. It shouldn't always be about me. It should be about my people, my country, and my continent. And I have so many plans that I want to implement in Ghana. So many ideas, so much that I want to do in Ghana.
What does your dream life look like? If you could achieve your dream life, what does it look like for you?
I feel like I really have a bright future, and I see myself taking Ghana to a next level, whether politically or socially. I am so much into that, and I can't wait to experience that, to have that come true. You know, I really dream of changing Ghana and Africa as a whole, building better schools, building better hospitals. I feel like a time should come that Ghanaians or Africans are only leaving Africa not because of greener pastures, but just for exposure. And that is what I really want to change. We should leave Africa not because of greener pastures, but just for exposure. That is my dream, my biggest dream in life, to achieve that. I know it will surely come true, because I strongly believe if you think it, you can do it. Once I can think that, it will surely come to pass.
Great, man. That's a really beautiful dream, you know?
Yeah, and thank you, sir.
And as a Mexican, I share that. I also feel like one day I would love to see my country achieving all of this wealth and well-being, quality life. That's great, man.
Yeah,
beautiful dream. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really cool.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much.
Anything else you want to add to the camera?
Yeah, lovely people, thank you very much for having me. And don't forget to check my channel as well. And I can't wait to also learn your language, you know. I really love your language so much. I think there should be a time I'll start learning your language, and that will be so amazing to me. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Thanks, man.